Greetings Earthlings, this is a technical comparison between the XUV400, the Nexon EV and the new to the market MG Windsor EV. This technical comparison was requested by a viewer Abhijit, so this one is for you. Now the Windsor EV may seem like the odd one out here, but you will be surprised how different and special this vehicle actually is. It's based on a skateboard dedicated EV platform, so it is surprisingly comfortable, practical and roomy. Especially because comfortable and roomy is not something you would associate the XUV400 and the Nexon with. In this video, I'll be comparing these three vehicles on a whole host of parameters, and along with the on-road price, I'll be scoring them against each other to give y'all an on-road score. Share this video with someone considering buying one of these cars, because towards the end of the video, in typical CarStats fashion, I'll be telling y'all which one of these cars I'd put my money on. Let's start off with a bit of history. The first gen Nexon EV was launched towards the end of 2019. In its present form, which is the second iteration, the vehicle has become sharper in terms of looks and also has more bells and whistles. All thanks to the launch of the Windsor EV and the battery as a service program, the Nexon EV is being offered at discounted rates till the end of 31st of October 2024. Moving on to the XUV400. It is the oldest car out here and it does look like it. Under the hood though, it is a competitive package but dated nonetheless. The Windsor EV, however, is an international product and goes by the name Wuling Cloud. It's a Chinese product which has been rebadged into an MG for the Indian market. And I have no issues with that because the Chinese have gotten so goddamn good with making products lately. Now that we are done with the history, let's move into the exterior design. Starting with the Nexon, it is the most aggressive and sharp looking product of the three. So much so that in purple, which I think it looks the best in, apparently makes it look like the Tarzan car. The XUV400 is the more mature looking product of the three. It does look old, but there is nothing wrong with it. So if you're looking to stand out, this may not be your best bet. The MG Windsor EV apparently looks like this car, a Fiat, and I seriously disagree with that. I really like the front end design, but what I don't is the absolute disgrace of a rear end. It looks like a cross between the Chrysler PT Cruiser and the light bar on the MG Comet. I mean, there is nothing wrong with the light bar on the MG Comet, and they should have just stuck with that, a sleek light bar. The best and most pleasing part of the exteriors of the MG Windsor is its large 18-inch wheels on the top-end models and flush door handles. Scoring these cars on exterior design, I really wanted to give this point to the MG Windsor EV, but that rear end has snatched this point away and given it to the Nexon EV for being very stylish and proportional in its shape and silhouette. The LED hello and goodbye animations is just the cherry on top of the icing. Moving into the interiors, the steering wheel setup on the Tata Nexon EV is typically Tata. It's got the two-spoke steering wheel design with an illuminated logo, and the climate control panel is what Tata likes to call it, a phygital control panel, because it's a combination of touch-based buttons as well as physical toggles. The dashboard is minimal and very modern with a large touchscreen and a very functional digital instrument cluster. Though it may have the smallest interior space amongst these three cars, the seats are well cushioned, nicely bolstered, and the sunroof does a good job in alleviating the cramped space. The Mahindra's dashboard is definitely more retro and has a lot of buttons, and I don't dislike it at all. In fact, I think it looks better than the Nexon's dashboard. The dual-tone black and white interior color scheme with copper accents sprinkled throughout gives it a nice touch, and it is more roomy on the inside than the Nexon EV. However, with both the Nexon EV and the XUV400, you do sit a little knees up because these are not born electric vehicles. The XUV though has a smaller sunroof, but the white upholstery gives it a sense of airiness. With the MG Windsor EV, the standout feature once you get inside is the large glass roof. The seats are also very plush and cushy. The reviewers are stating that it can cause some fatigue over longer drives. The rear seats also have a great recline angle, furthering the sense of space. It also does have the best legroom and headroom amongst these three cars. Surprisingly, the large 18-inch wheels haven't eaten into the interior space, And the other major standout feature in the interiors is the large 15.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system. It is basically a laptop without a keyboard. So when it comes to interior space and design, the MG Windsor gets this point. Moving into the colors, the Nexon EV provides the most number of options to its buyers. With the empowered variant, the options are pristine white, Daytona grey, intensity teal, flame red and empowered oxide. With the fearless variant, you get the fearless purple, pristine white, Daytona grey and flame red. The empowered and fearless variant get a black sunroof. The creative variant is available in pristine white, Daytona grey, flame red and creative ocean, all of which come with a white roof. The XUV400 comes in two variants. The EC Pro comes in stealth black, galaxy grey, nebula blue, Everest white and Arctic blue. The EL Pro comes with all these colors but also gets a dual tone copper colored roof. The Windsor EV comes in four colors, which are turquoise green, pearl white, clay beige and starburst black. Now let's move into the features, and I think the Nexon EV gets the best list of them. Some of the standard features are maps in the digital instrument cluster, an air purifier, a 360-degree surround view camera system, blind spot monitoring system, a voice activated sunroof, front seat ventilation, a cooled glove box, paddle shifters for regen and multiple driving modes. The XUV also gets most of these features but nothing extra when compared to the Nexon EV. The biggest feature on the XUV is the single pedal driving mode. The Windsor EV is definitely more decked with features when compared to the XUV400, and some of the best features are the large glass roof, which unfortunately doesn't open. It also gets a first in segment battery heating system and that very large infotainment display. If you want to know every feature that's available in these cars, I'm going to leave a link to the brochures in the video description. However, while concluding the features section, I'd like to point out that the biggest feature that the MG Windsor gets is the battery as a service program. Here you pay a low upfront cost for the vehicle itself and about 3.5 rupees per kilometer as the battery cost. And because of this, I'm giving this point to the MG Windsor EV. When it comes to ground clearance, the MG Windsor EV gets the least, about 186 mm. And the XUV400 gets 200 mm, the Nexon EV gets 205 mm. And talking about boot space, the MG Windsor EV gets a massive 604 liters, whereas the XUV gets 378 liters and the Nexon gets the smallest 350 liters. When it comes to safety, I'm going to give this point to the Tata Nexon EV because it is the only car that comes with an NCAP rating, and that is 5 stars of NCAP rating, whereas the other two cars don't get an NCAP rating. However, all these three cars get standard safety features including 6 airbags across all variants. Let's now move into the last part of this technical comparison, and that is a comparison between the battery, drivetrain and pricing. The biggest and smallest battery pack is provided by the Tata product. It ranges from 30 kilowatt hours to 40.5 kilowatt hours and maxes out at 45 kilowatt hours. And because they are able to give the smallest battery pack of 30 kilowatt hours, they can also give you the vehicle itself at the lowest price of 13.24 lakhs. Now, I've not included all variants of each of these products in this table, and what you see is the lowest and highest variant available for each product. But say you're looking for power, then quite simply the XUV400 is what will satisfy your taste buds and your need for speed. If you want the most range, then you can either go for the XUV EL Pro with a 39.4 kilowatt hour battery pack or the top of the line Nexon with a 45 kilowatt hour battery pack. Since the Nexon offers the most number of options in terms of battery pack and power output, I'm going to give this point to the Nexon. But when it comes to pricing, the Windsor EV gets the point. Now that we are done with the technical comparison, time has come to call it a day and tell you all the on-road score and also, most importantly, which one of these cars I'd put my money on. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, the XUV is the most powerful product of the three but the Nexon seems to be the most balanced offering. However, with the battery as a service program that is offered by MG, I think the Windsor EV is the most lucrative and cost-effective electric vehicle amongst these three cars, especially if you're not a very high mileage user. I put my money on the Windsor EV not just because it's cheap to buy, because the folks in the rear seat will be very well taken care of, and a large touchscreen will make things easier for me in the driver's seat. Sure, it may not have the most ground clearance, but a 180 mm is not too shabby by itself, and the large boot makes it the right product for doing duties and lugging around large amounts of groceries or anything else for that matter. But what would you choose, especially you, Abhijit? Tell me which one you'd go for. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you all enjoyed this technical comparison. Please subscribe to the CarStats channel. It's going to take me a very long way, and I'll see you all next week.